All right, so nobody's in here. I don't care. I'm gonna just hold this, and if you join up, you join up. So the very first thing that you want to do when you are entering into the market is you're first asking yourself, right? What day are we in, right? It's a Monday. Okay, now let's look at the news. Let's see what type of news we had on Monday. Let's look at this week. So we can see that this week we had no news on Monday. I'm not trading that day. Even though I did trade on that day and I lost, it is what it is. But I know for next week, no news Mondays are just not it. Okay, cool. It's a no news Monday, right? And we ask ourselves, what's the direction? Are we bullish or are we bearish? We are bullish. Very apparent. Now ask yourselves, what is the sequence that we're in within the bullish trend? We're gonna go to our sequence thing. Bullish sequence, what we look like? Two. So what can we anticipate? We can only anticipate for the remainder of the session dumps. All right, cool. So now let's mark our draws and liquidity. So we're anticipating dumps. We know that we're bullish, so we are gonna anticipate a number two that's gonna look like that, and then that maybe, right? So right now for the macro, we're only gonna anticipate price to just drive lower, right? So let's mark our draws and liquidity. Draws and liquidity are marked. Now we're gonna mark out any internals, right? First of all, let's go to 9:30. Let's go ahead and skip to 9:30 to make sure that we are in the correct time frame and we're at where we need to be before the session. Okay, that draw and liquidity got met, so we can delete that. 9:30. And I'm gonna also put you guys on game on the aspect of using the 15-minute, right? So this is 9:28, 9:29. Okay, cool. Boom. So, same ideology, right? A sequence number two, still bullish, still anticipating price to dump. So now that we want to see that, all we gotta wait for now is just a bearish manipulation coupled with the idea that we want to short, right? So do we have any ask yourself, do you have any internals? Yeah, I do have an internal right here. This is the closest internal. We can just leave that alone, right? And now my eyes are on the first 15. So let's see if we have an internal manipulation right now. Okay, so I won't be able to see it on both sides because let me see if I can go on Monday on this side. Let's see. Let's see on this side. Let's see. Okay, so 9:30 was right here. Right here. So it's 9:30. So I don't see anything, right? My eyes would be on that 15. In real life, bro, real time, my eyes would be on that 15-minute, right? I can't really align S&P 500 with I wish it back tested it together, but it doesn't do that. But let me just go back to Monday at 9 o'clock, right? So 9. All we want to see now is just all right. Let's just ignore the side. Right now we're just waiting for manipulation, right, to then take a short. So let's see what happens. All right, so there's our manipulation, right? So me, right? What I'm seeing is this what I would have done, right? I would have seen this was the bearish manipulation that we would have had at the highs. Wait for the next candle. I'm gonna wait for that for more displacement. More displacement. Enter right here. Enter right here. Stop loss is above here for 40 points. Target that. Target base points. We don't need much. A 1-to-1, right? Easy. Super easy. Super easy. Some people may have targeted that, but let's see what happens when you try to target. Let's see if he plays out. No, you get stopped. That's why you go for base points. That's what I would have entered off the first 15. And if you didn't take that, then you'd have to wait for the 9:45 candle, which is what I advise people to do if you don't want to take the 9:30 candle because it's too, manipulative. If you're gonna decide to take, if you're gonna ignore the 9:30 candle, you want to be on a 15-minute, the 15-minute chart and ask yourself, okay, where is the bullish manipulation, right? So is this? I think this is a form of manipulation right here at this low, this draw liquidity. Yeah, this right here, it's really really hard to tell, but that low is a bullish manip right here. Where is that? So right there, yeah. You would have seen this, and considering that's how the 9:30 look, you're asking yourself, what is the next 15 gonna look like? The next 15 is 9:45, right? So considering that this is a bullish manip, It looks like, we would ask ourselves, okay, what are signatures that we can, take from? Here is an order block right here. Maybe we want to rebalance to something. It doesn't give us a rebalance. Okay, at that point, you would just enter longs somewhere right here. Put your stops right there. You could target this internal high right here. And actually, you would got smacked, but let's just put let's say you just had a more, better stops. Actually, the rebalance happened, kinda, right? You could have took this rebalance right here, take that entry, and that would have worked out for the second 15-minute candle, which ended up being a bullish candle. And then for the rest of the day, we ended up going down lower. But yeah, right? That could have been your two moves from 9:30 to 9:45 for Monday. Monday was pretty weird though. I do not recommend people to trade Monday. Leave Monday alone. Like, I'm not trading Mondays anymore, ever. All right, now let's go to Tuesday. Whoops. Let's go to Tuesday. Okay, cool. On Tuesday, ask ourselves, okay, what are we doing right now? Okay, so if you're confused, when in doubt, just go on a 4-hour, mark out the range. Within this range, it seems like we respected equilibrium of this range. So, personally, I would think that we are bullish, right? So, in reality, bro, I'm not bearish. I'm thinking bullish, right? But also, this can be mixed. So, what I do when I'm not certain on which direction, all I do is just mark out the internal draws. I just mark out all the draws. I mark out all the draws and just wait for price to go somewhere on the 15 and follow. So at this point, it's like I don't know what price wants to do, so I'm just gonna wait for the 9:30 candle, the 9:30 15-minute candle, and I'll take the 9:45 candle because that's gonna tell you where price wants to go. So here's the 9:30 candle right here, right? We come down lower. You could have participated in this trade if you wanted to, but I wouldn't have taken that trade. I would have waited. The new 15-minute candle, right? I want to see, okay, considering how we were we closed above this draw. If the 15-minute candle starts buying up higher, I would take it. If it continues lower, I'll capitalize on the short movement lower and then, be done for the day. So now I'm waiting for 9:45 right now. It's 9:44. My eyes are on this BISI right here. I actually remember taking this trade. We closed here. I took that entry right there. Just like that. And this worked out. That was my trade for Tuesday. Easy. Now, after this happens, you can anticipate, considering this is still the open of the 15, we're nowhere near, the 10 o'clock candle. So you can anticipate, obviously, this is going to be a reversal, which we do get right there, right about here. We got a displacement rebalance lower, right? We displace right there. There's an entry right here. Stops below here. And considering, this is 15-minute, the new 15, you can target this. And this would have been another clean trade. But remember, you're keeping your eyes on just two candles. 9:30, 9:45, and then 10 o'clock. 3 candles for real. But that would have been Tuesday's price action. Very simple. I caught that short. Some people caught the buys. The buys ended up being like or actually not. The shorts actually was the bigger move. The buys was just a rebalance into this 15-minute SIBI, sorry. A rebalance and then dump for the rest of the session. But us, we capitalized off the first 15 or the middle 15 of the session. That's Tuesday. And now we go to Wednesday. I think Wednesday was what? Wednesday was CPI. Yeah, Wednesday was CPI, so it was a really big day. I remember I actually had a really big move that I didn't choose to be part of because I wanted to wait just to be disciplined, right? Okay, so that's 8 o'clock. That's CPI news right there. Now, ask ourselves, what's the direction? Bullish. Okay, cool. Bullish. Ask ourselves now, all right, what's the sequence then? The sequence will be a number 2. Why? Because we already took out previous highs. These highs right here. So if we are going to continue, we're going to go like this and do that because we already moved up. So if we moved up, we got to move down, right? Cool. So I actually remember this. Specifically, we had a bearish manipulation right here to also confirmate and predict that we were going to shoot lower on this day, on that Wednesday. So then, right, I just wanted to see shorts. Like I wanted to take shorts. I didn't want to see anything shorts. So then this was 9. So let me just wait. So once I seen that new candle, wait, let me make sure it's at 9:30, 9:15, 9:28, 9:29. There it was at 9:30. Once I saw that, bro, because this is how it looked, right? Let me show you on both sides the manipulation. Yeah, this is how it looked. Literally, this manipulation right here. This manipulation. Once I saw that manip, fam. Once I have manipulation behind my idea, bro, all I need now is like some form of displacement and a disrespect, right? That, yeah, I entered into that. Like the moment, bro, when it's live, bro, I can't show you because it's backtesting, but yeah, when it's live, I'm in that. And I just took this one explosive candle down and I was done. And if you can see how the 15-minute candle looks like, it looked like that. And then for the rest of the day, it was just pretty low probable after that. It was pretty trash after this. So if you didn't take that first displacement down lower and you tried to, stay in and try to buy, you probably got chopped. But yeah, the 9:30 candle, I remember taking this trade. I think this was my biggest day of the week. And then we had a rebalance higher. If you missed that, this was actually the 9:45 candle. That's what I'm saying. You guys pay attention, right? So where is it? 9:45. So right here, the 9:45 candle. What does it do? It buys up higher, rejects. So you see how it creates a wick and it starts, rejecting down. That's what this is. This is the wick. As soon as this happens, you enter there. Stop loss up here. Target the internal. Easy. Yep. And that was Wednesday. Still nobody here. I'm literally talking to a ghost. I love it. I love this. I love this group, this community. Just have, really active members. Anyways, all right. So that was Wednesday. Thursday was actually one of the freaking hugest days ever. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Where's that thing? Right? Where's that little vertical line? Yeah. Thursdays was one like that day was actually just disgustingly disrespectful. I ain't gonna lie. So this was 8. Let's go to 9:30. Once you go to 9:30, we're gonna go ahead and play price. Okay. Boom. So 9:30, you have to ask yourself, what's our direction? Right? What's our direction? This looks like a number. All right, so we know that what's the direction? Bullish, right? Clearly bullish. Now you have to ask yourselves, what does it look like? Let's go on a sequence. Let's go on a sequence chart. Let's refer to that sequence chart. This looks like a number 1 because we're down here and we're moving up higher now, right? So obviously we all know, we can target this draw right here, mark out draws. So after you identify the direction, right? Bullish, bearish, you ask yourself, okay, now where are my draws? Once you find your draws, after you don't find your draws, you ask yourself, okay, now I gotta wait for manipulation. Let me watch that 15-minute candle, right? Well, as live trading, you'll be watching that 15-minute candle. You go into 1 minute and then you just literally wait for manipulation. I actually wanted shorts because I remember seeing this. Actually, I seen that price wanted to short. Where was it? It was over here. See this high and that high. If y'all can clearly identify it, this high, that's manipulation. Where is the other high? Where is it? This high right here. And right there. Okay, so right here. Basically manip. I saw entry here, right there, right? This was one. It was my first entry. Then I closed. Then once I closed that entry, yeah, I didn't take any more. Once I closed that entry, bro, I was like, okay, my eyes was looking at 15, and I was like, okay, how is this gonna print now? It did that. I saw that live. Once I started flip live, I entered, bro, and I actually went really heavy on this trade. I went really heavy, and I'm not gonna disclose how much I made on this trade because it's none of your business. But I held this trade and I closed like around this area for 250 points. Thursday was my biggest day. Mind you, I only traded 2 micros. And you can imagine. But yeah, that was Thursday, one of the most explosive days we had this week. And then yeah, that was pretty much easy. That was an easy day. And then finally you had today. Today was pretty easy. You just had to really, like I said, use the sequence for narrative, bro. I mean, right? You have to ask yourself, what's direction we are in? Clearly bullish. Okay, we know we're bullish. What sequence? Number 2. Why? Because we already took out these highs, right? We already literally took out these highs. So if we are bullish, remember, if we are bullish and we did, hold on, let me delete that. If we're bullish, if we have a low, high, higher low, if we have a higher high, what needs to happen? A higher low to do what? A higher high. It's that simple. But sometimes, because we have all this huge gap right here, you can anticipate price to come down, dump, and then do what? Return up, right? So that's what you want to have in the back of your mind. I'm anticipating price to dump. And on top of that, we already have what? A pre-market manipulation confirming and confirming our idea of shorts right here, right? So now that you identify what sequence we're in, you just mark out your external draws. Your external draws will always be on the 1 hour. You go on the 15-minute, right? And you're anticipating price to dump because you see that manipulation. So knowing that we want to see price dump, all you got to do now is wait for a BISI to get disrespected or order block to be formed. What time is this? Let me go to 9:30. There we go. So 9:30, we manipulated this high. Let me go on Friday. So right here. Let me find the manipulation right there. Where is it? Right here. So 9:30, we manipulated this high right there. Really small, tiny manipulation. Once we had that manipulation, bro, I saw this. I was like, bro, I took this and I actually got off the computer. I just targeted this for a simple 1-to-1. So easy, bro. So easy. So easy. And then it just rebalanced. This is why you don't stay in trades. It rebalanced, took out some more draws, and then it just went for the next draw lower. And it just dumped, like literally. Feel me? So that was the week, y'all boys. You feel me? That was very, very simple. Not the easiest week, but a week that would have been easy to trade if you just understand sequence theory, couple it with manipulation, and then algorithmic signatures on a lower time frame. So literally every time you wake up, you get on the chart. Ask yourself, what's the direction? Bullish or bearish? Cool. Knowing that we're either bullish or bearish, what's the sequence? 1 or 2 if we're bullish, 3 or 4 if we're bearish. Now, if we are 1, we're bullish and we're down here, anticipate that. If we're 2 and we're up here, anticipate this. If we're bearish, if we're up here, anticipate that, and then that's it. And then on the anticipation of these red arrows, you want to have manipulation behind that idea. Because if you have the manipulation behind the idea, it's gonna happen. Most like 70 to 80%, right? Because look, we were bullish, right? We were up here and we took out these highs. What happens? We dump. But where do we dump to? We dump to this gap. Once we get to this gap, what happens? As soon as we tap this gap, what happens? Rebalance. So you can anticipate, right? Watch. We're gonna see for Sunday afternoon or Sunday night. See how we're down here? You can anticipate this. Watch. Come back to this video. It may happen, it may not happen. I can't tell the future. I can only anticipate, predict, and just back up what I see off of what price tells me. That's it. But it's seeming like for the week or for the month, I think we're gonna return to all-time high price action, because on ES we already made all-time highs. So I think we're gonna just keep going up. To be honest, I see no reason why we would reverse. And if you look at the monthly, bro, yeah, this doesn't look like, unless price may be faking out to, because this is liquidity and this is still like standing there. So this might be like a fake move. This might be like a fake mini move to really go down and then go back up, or just keep going down. But we don't know, bro. We're not worried about that. Worried about daily narrative, right? Just go on a 1 hour, bro. Go on a 4 hour, go on a 1 hour. Ask yourself, what direction are we in? Bullish or bearish? Understand the sequence and the follow sequence. Wait for the manipulation. Wait for Bitsy Sibby disrespect, and then just take the trade 1-to-1. Done. You consistently can do that. Your account grows day by day, week by week, month by month. Then gets to a point where you're trading 1 mini, 2 minis, 3 minis, dragging balls everywhere you go. But yeah, bro, that's the weekly review. You guys have a good rest of your day. I'm literally talking to nobody. I love that. This group is so active, bro. I'm happy I already made this group to help people. I'm helping a lot right now. So all right, y'all boys, have a good rest of y'all day, man.